Chapter 33. Dad. The next morning after a big country breakfast, Sky could wait no longer. With a stomach already trying to reject the food it just devoured, she asked Tom for the use of his phone. Praying both that she would get through and that the phones wouldn't work, she dialed her father's number. Sky's breath caught with the first ring. She turned her frightened gaze to Trisha, who hurried to her side. Sky put a hand on her thumping heart as she waited for someone to answer. On the fifth ring, there was a click. "Hello," said Charlotte. Sky mouthed to Trisha that it was her sister-in-law. "Charlotte? It's Sky. Sky. I'm so glad you got through." Relief was unmistakable in Charlotte's voice. "I was just going." "Going? Going where?" Panic made Sky's tone sharper than she intended. She clenched the phone tighter. Charlotte's voice clogged with emotion. "Sky, honey, I took your dad to the hospital yesterday. I'm so sorry. It came on so fast. He didn't make it. He passed away a few hours later." Sky was numb except for the sharp prickles that waved up and down her arms. She wasn't hearing right. It couldn't be. A sharp pain shot through her. A whisper at first, then a shout, "Daddy, no. No." Trisha put her arms around Sky and she grabbed onto her. Charlotte did what she could to reassure Sky. "Your dad didn't suffer. I was with him the whole time. It wasn't the AG flu. It was his heart. We made sure he was as comfortable as possible. I should have been there." Sky forced the self-condemning words out. "No, Sky, please don't think that," Trisha said as she rubbed Sky's back. Sky brought a hand to her forehead. "Oh Charlotte, I'm so sorry. I tried to make it, I really did. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for being there for him." Sorrow tightened her throat. "You have nothing to apologize for. Your dad was happy to know you were safe. That meant everything to him." Yes, of course." "Charlotte, are you okay?" "Yes, so far I am. My sister is a few streets over, and I'm going to stay with her now." "And Bobby and Janie, anything from them?" Sky asked. Charlotte uttered a sob. "No word about them, I asked everyone, even at the hospital. I'm hoping, praying, that means they found a safe place somewhere. I will leave a note for them. If you somehow hear from them, tell them I'm staying at Gretchen's." "How about you? Are you still well?" "Yes, I'm fine. I did get sick but got over it. I'm visiting Tom and Trisha today and using their landline, but I'm still up in the hills with the Coles. It's secure, really nice. I had wanted to bring Dad and you all here." Her words trailed off as fresh tears started. "Good, you stay there. It eased your dad's mind knowing you were safe." Agony laced Charlotte's tone as she asked, "How did we get here, having conversations like this?" She cleared her throat. "I can't say it's nice here, but we'll get by. If I need to, I'll head down there. But right now, I want to stay with my family and hope that Bobby and Janie come home. If that doesn't work out, I have another sister outside of town that has been begging us to join her." Sky asked Charlotte to leave Tom's number and address in her note for Bobby and wrote down Charlotte's contact information. They each gave their assurances they would try to stay in touch. Both took their time saying their goodbyes, worried it would likely be the last conversation they would ever have with each other. Sky slowly hung up the phone, her head bowed. Her greatest fear had materialized. "They're all gone. My family is just gone." She was hollow, a hole sat in her chest where her beating heart used to be. Trisha and Tom wrapped her in their arms, and Sky leaned into them, letting their small words of comfort encourage her. Though consoling others didn't come naturally to Wade, Dylan, or Jesse, each did their best. Jesse came over to Sky and hugged her, the first he had ever initiated. "Hug me for as long as you need to, I can take it." Sky smiled through her tears, stroked his hair and drew him closer. The whole execution seemed awkward to Wade, but he managed a stiff hug not too unlike Dylan's first hug. He made it quick, but gave her back a few pats. Dylan reached over everyone, wrapped his hand around her upper arm and pulled her into his embrace. As his strong, warm arms comforted her, Sky blew out a long, soft breath and laid her head against his chest. She reached around Dylan, putting her hands on his back and leaned against him, knowing he would hold her up. When Sky's tears started again, Dylan consoled her. "There's nothing you could have done."
Tom frowned as he watched Sky and Dylan. When had this happened? He was supposed to be a cop, and this was the first he'd noticed. He threw a questioning glance to his wife. But Tricia didn't look at him. She watched Dylan and Sky with a smile as wide as the New River Gorge. Apparently, she had seen this coming, probably from the time they hit the door. Tom's frown deepened, and he folded his arms as he stepped back from the group. As he got ready to clear his throat, Tricia rapped on his forearm. She wagged her finger at him and mouthed, "None of your business." As if that wouldn't give him enough of a hint, she shot him a narrow-eyed glare. Tom's uncertain glance went from Tricia to the couple and back again. Still, Tom wasn't sure how he felt about this. He sent Tricia a scowl, then turned to take his police-issued Glock out of his gun case and holster it before he did his rounds. He refused to look at Sky and Dylan, instead turning his gaze to the living room's rain-dotted picture window. Something caught his eye. There was movement in the stand of trees facing the house.